Just reflecting really on one of the children, well, and several children in this cohort of children for Phonics Counts, is that they had such a low starting point in relation to their nursery when they started, that really there was a real impetus for us to really sort of march ahead in terms of vocabulary development. Could you just tell me the benefits that Phonics Counts have in relation to the development of vocabulary?
Well, I would say the decodable books are a very good starting point, because I think the storylines, the language that is used there, although not particularly sophisticated, does introduce new language to children who are not exposed to a rich language at home.
Sure.
And it does give a lot of discussion, and very often those are words then that they can go back into the classroom and use either in their stories. And what I have actually tried to do is when you have been working on a particular topic, if I know that we have books, decodable books, that either might have a similar language or at least about similar characters, then I do try to introduce those there so that they have some preparation for when they come back into the classroom. For example, when you were working on George.
Oh, George and the Dragon.
And the Dragon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we had Gentle George.
Gentle George. And there was lots of rich language within that story. And I think what I've noticed from the vocabulary work that you're doing within Phonics Counts and indeed in the classroom here is that all of that collectively is really arming children with a broader diet of vocabulary and language that they can use, and as a result of which their comprehension has increased as well, because they've got lots of words from which they can draw upon. So that's ever more important for some of our children who have such a low starting point. I think for me, I've noticed significant changes in terms of my environment. So for example, you were working with a boy, and whilst I use the phoneme frame within my phonics lesson, I have it there for him to use in the writing area and so on. What I actually don't do, and only from our conversations, is that I didn't have a phoneme frame explicitly in front of him as he was trying to encode to be a speller. And what I've realised from our conversations is that he needs that all the time for any kind of writing activity, irrespective of where that happens in the classroom. And it's only through our dialogue that I've actually made those changes to the environment that I have. And also in the environment that I have, we have this washing line of phonemes that they've not quite mastered yet, that is there for them to use with the tricky word wall and so on and so forth. So there's been significant changes. We have decodable books on show that the children can also use. So lots of those things from our conversations have actually had a direct impact on changes that I've made in the classroom that supports the learning further and enables children to apply their skills and knowledge around phonics more readily within the classroom, and that's because of a direct conversation that we have together.
We all have, yes.
So that's great.
Yeah, I think it's been a really positive outcome.